Let's go. Let's go. You already see what we're talking about. You see what we're talking about. You see what it is today. See what it is today, baby. You see what it is today, baby. Hold on, let me get a couple things shared out real quick. And mic check, mic check, mic check. Oh yeah, it's that season. It's that season. It's that season. Mic check, mic check, mic check. We are here and we ready to roll, baby. Ready to roll. All right. So Facebook, we're good. All right, let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. As always, good. Happy Win-Trapreneur Wednesday. Happy Win-Trapreneur Wednesday. If you do not know the meaning of that word, Win-Trapreneur, again, I will be describing it to you in just a moment. But just know we're in college football season. We're officially ramped up around here. And a lot of the things, about 90, I will say between 97 and 99% of the things that we do here in the Move Swiftly world stems from what I learned as a football player, the college football world. And we are in that season where there's so many examples for me to share that it starts to become one of those things where my system has to be so airtight that I keep myself from going too far into the weeds, because this is that time of year where a lot of my quality content, my quality material comes from. So first and foremost, let me introduce myself to anybody that may be new to me, new to this channel, new to what we're all about. My name, it is Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. And what I do, what I created, it's all create this whole brand, this whole concept, this whole business that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them, aligning them with businesses and business owners, so they have a group of employees and a staff that moves as efficiently, as cohesively, has the mindset, has the toughness, has the dog in them, right? That dog mentality, has all of that the same way a championship high school or youth football team has. We want to correlate that. One of my superpowers is taking that mindset and implementing into businesses so that staff is moving with that same mentality. All right. So that's what we do over here in the Move Swiftly world. And today, again, like I started mentioning before I gave the intro, is Win-Trapreneur Wednesday. Win-Trapreneur Wednesday, where we're going to be taking a direct example from the college football world and applying it to your business, as I explained to you why you have to set up a merit-based system, or why you need to be striving to be in a merit-based system. The merit-based system, the ultimate meritocracy, is sports, because the good ones, the ones who are able to get the job done and go out and get the wins, the ones who are just better, right? Plain and simple, top to bottom, just a better player. Those are the ones that you're going to see on the field. It's the ultimate meritocracy, and the mindset that it creates, what it creates in you, inside of you, is to say, hey, I'm going to go out and prove myself. So we're going to be taking an example directly from the college football world today. And so before I get into too much of that, let me just get through a couple of announcements here for all of the newcomers into this world. First and foremost, business owners, business owners. All right, if you have not yet, make sure you go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. I created a very, very easy to understand process, a very simple formula for you guys to start to work from, to at least get you on the right track. Now, it's not going to solve all your problems, but it can get you thinking in the right direction, get you moving in the right direction. It's number one, establishing measurables. Number two, creating a professional distance, and that allowing those two things to lead to the productive environment that you need. All right. That's the only way that you're going to get results. It is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. It's a very easy to understand 10-step process that you can utilize right now to start to create the cohesion in your business that you need to. That is very simple. Again, just put your name, number, email, whatever it is, and you will receive that once you click the send button. Just let me know that you would like it. Next thing, West Palm Beach, stand up. If you are interested in free boxing lessons, go to freeboxing.makeyourmove.com. That's freeboxing.makeyourmove.com. I am just getting better and better every day with it. As good as it looks right there, I'm constantly getting better. Connected with the gym named Palm Beach. You can, I'm having I have the shirt on right now. I'll just show you. Connected with a gym out here named Palm Beach Boxing, where whether you want to do it at the park or whether you want to do it at Palm Beach Boxing, now I got you. We have all sorts of opportunities and all sorts of things laid out in which you can take advantage of. So again, that is freeboxing.makeitmove.com. As you can see there, if you would like a free session, go from 6, 7 or 8 p.m. Any one of those times usually works for me, and we can go from there. Now, one of my favorite kind of people over here in the Move Swiftly world, the people that we look to attract every day, are the folks that are saying to themselves, bump all that free stuff. We want to know who we can pay or who we're supposed to be paying and all that kind of stuff. You guys are welcome with open arms. Welcome with open arms around here, right? All you got to go do is drop the free stuff and just go to makeyourmove.com. You'll see the shop now button. You could inquire about the employee development workshops, which is the main offer that we have around here, because it's an offer that's going to go over a period of time. But also there's the Win-Trapreneur t-shirts. There are the boxing lessons there that you may want to pay for. There are books, intellectual property, all the things that you would need to start to build up and really develop. That's why I call it the number one shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. You can do all the research that you need to do on me. And let me just read it to you guys directly so you guys have a understanding of what you will be getting. So, turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system, and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. That is the guarantee, and that's what we're going to do for you when you decide to work with me and, get it so your employees are continuously being developed. All right, so here we go. Another Win-Trapreneur Wednesday. And again, as I started mentioning the college football world, what created this whole brand, what created this whole concept, what created this whole business and the structure and the framework that I've created. It has come from the college football world. All right. College football was something that was a huge accomplishment for me, seeing where I played and how I played and what my strengths and weaknesses were and all that kind of stuff. And I've done episodes, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about it next week. Yeah, we're going to be talking about role models, but the week after, we're going to be discussing a lot about what mental adjustments are about, and I'll be pulling examples from my time as a player and what I had to accept, the mentality that you have to accept, all the things that you have to accept on a day-to-day basis. But throughout this entire week, we've been really diving into how to thrive in a merit-based system, and then also making sure that we're moving in a direction. If you're looking at it from the employee perspective, we're moving in a direction to where we're getting paid based on our merit, paid based on the things that we're able to perform. Did we go out, did we perform this result? Did we go do this thing? And they get paid based on merit. That needs to be the goal. All right. Nowadays, I'm telling you right now, maybe there might have been a time before, I don't know, maybe let's say the year 2000, before artificial intelligence, before the internet, before all of the things that are allowing us to connect the way we connect now. There may have been a time where you can have a connection with this person and ultimately find your career, right? You may know the right person. You may have the right family member that does this and does that for you. Nowadays, all right, jobs are being lost because now business owners are waking up to the fact of realizing, the way that screen looks good, are realizing, hey, I can utilize the internet, I can utilize AI, I can utilize whatever it is I need to utilize and replace human beings who are dead weight, replace human beings who are just sitting back, not doing a damn thing. All right. They can replace you. You will be replaced, which means on the flip side, and I'm using that term flip for a reason because you see it right there on the screen. On the flip side, you as a potential employee, you need to develop the mindset of how do I perform at my job? How do I perform to the point where that job turns into a career, and that career turns into something where I can become self-sufficient, and I can get control over my situation. I get control how my money comes in. I can get control over where my money comes and what's being invested and how I can take care of my family and pay my bills and all that kind of stuff. How can I move in a direction in which I can start to develop control? You have to do whatever it takes to do that. You don't want to get caught up in the moment to where you're depending on somebody else to make it so you have a way of supporting yourself. All right. Don't do that. Trust me. It's a bad situation. And when you look at the example of what we're going to be sharing today, we're talking about the ultimate meritocracy, the ultimate merit-based system, the ultimate where it's right now. Can you show up today? Who's the better player today? I'm not talking about what you did yesterday. I'm not talking about all the stars and the rivals and what the internet says about you and what you did back when you were in youth or all that bullshit. I'm talking about, can you perform today? Can you perform today? And are you making shit happen today? All right. That's the mentality. That is the mindset and the development of what it's all about. All right. So let's get right into the article today. Win-Trapreneur Wednesday, merit-based flips. All right. So just let me describe the image that I decided to use to headline this article. It says flipped quarterback Bryce Underwood. And you see a logo of a tiger, and he's flipped as a 5-star recruit that flipped from LSU, a commitment from LSU, and he's going to the university. He's going to Michigan, the University of Michigan Wolverines. My beloved Michigan Wolverines. All right. This was a big deal. And it provides an incredible example, not because he's necessarily the only guy that has flipped the school kind of in the 11th hour. I remember actually Stephen Diggs. I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland. So Stephen Diggs was, big deal. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was committed to Maryland. No, he was committed to I think he was committed to LSU. Well, it was either Stephen Diggs or Rakim Jarrett. So, matter of fact, let me look this up real quick. So, because I'm from Maryland, I got to shout out my Maryland guys. But it was Stephen Diggs. It wasn't Stephen Diggs. I'm gonna look them both up. Stephen Diggs and then Rakim Jarrett. All right, Rakim Jarrett. Yeah, this was it. This was it. This was it, because they're both from Maryland. And I remember I think it was Rakim Jarrett who was committed to he was a big deal. Yeah, he was a big deal. He was a big deal back at oh man, yeah, this is bringing back memories, boy. Oh man, it's bringing back memories. But so Kim Jarrett, first freshman doing. So yeah, he this is right here. This is Maryland royalty. This is what the DMV is all about, baby. See, we don't get a lot of love on the football field, but when it comes to seeing cats like this is awesome. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong because it was a while ago, but I believe this was it. Oh man. But Rakim Jarrett coming out of high school was a big deal coming out of high school. And he was committed to LSU. And then on signing day, he flips and ends up staying home and goes to the University of Maryland. And this was the same thing that Stephen Diggs did. This was something similar that Stephen did. It was a surprise. It was a surprise, actually, that he committed to Maryland. It was like a big thing. It was like a big thing going to Maryland because, he could have went that was it. Because he literally could have went anywhere, and he ended up staying at home in Maryland. So it's not like Bryce Underwood was the only one that flipped on a school in the 11th hour. And this is what you got to tell recruits as well, is that, all this like offering this one and ranking this one and nothing becomes official until that day that you commit and you sign that national letter of intent, and that offer is only good for one season. So you got to earn your scholarship every single year. Now with NIL and the money coming in, it's a little bit different, seeing that you have the portal and the players kind of have some control over where they're going to go. But for the most part, it's still a meritocracy, because the headlines and the things that make the news, the things that make national media are like that 1% of players that are literally NFL rate, like a elite group of players, but the majority of them are not going to be able to have their option in terms of where they go and, you know, have all these offers and stuff like that. So he's not the only one that flipped. All right. I say all that to explain to you guys, he's not the only one that flipped. It was just a matter of how perfect Bryce Underwood was for how bad the situation was at Michigan last year. I mean, we were fucking terrible. Offensively, it was terrible. I remember watching games because I go to this. I was watching games with some of my fellow Michigan Wolverine fans, and I was calling out the plays. I'm literally calling out the plays before they run them. They were doing the same thing offensively. You're throwing the ball to Colston Loveland every single play, or it's a spread, a stretch play where you run the ball. The quarterback we had just, again, loved him to death, loved Davis Warren's story and all that, but he just wasn't. You just saw it. You saw it, especially a year ago when we were national champions and we had an offense that was ticking, man, ticking. So again, you can see how badly the offense was when you watch the games, and you have the number one recruit in the country who is a quarterback who's right there in your backyard. It's like, come on, man. It was the same thing. It was the same thing when it came to a Rakim Jarrett or a Stephen Diggs, to where they're right in your backyard. You gotta own your backyard. You gotta own your backyard. And I'm gonna play a video for you guys as we go through, because I actually did a reaction video when this whole thing went down. But let me read the article to you guys directly. All right. So reading directly for you podcast listeners. Let's start today's Win-Trapreneur Wednesday with two clear definitions. One straight from the dictionary and the other straight from the mind of yours truly. All right. Win-Trapreneur. A person with a strong entrepreneurial vision for their life and business who has been fortunate enough to find a job that aligns with that vision. This is the core of everything we do here on the Move Swiftly platform. It's more than a title. It's a lifestyle, a mindset, and a movement. Better believe it. That is what we do here. That is the core right there. That mentality. Meritocracy, a system where success, advancement, and influence are based on demonstrated ability, talent, and achievement. Not money, clout, or who you know. Let that sink in. I'm going to say it again so it really sinks in. Meritocracy, a system where success, advancement, and influence are based on demonstrated ability, talent, and achievement. Not money, clout, or who you know. Influence based on demonstrated ability. Have you done anything? Talent. Are you good enough to do it? And achievement. Can you prove it? Can you prove that you got the shit done? Can you prove it day to day that you got the shit done and you have what it takes to get the damn job? That's what it's all about. That's what meritocracy is all about. Being actually good enough to do it. Let it sink in. What's up, it's us. Are you good enough? That's what a meritocracy is. All right, so let it sink in. Let it sit in your mind for a little bit, okay? Because if you've been following along this week, you know we've been diving deep into what it really means to earn your spot, what it means to step into a merit-based role. And honestly, there's no better real-world example of meritocracy than college football. Enter my beloved Michigan Wolverines. I'm not just a fan. I'm an obsessed, borderline psychotic Michigan Wolverines diehard. Go Blue. And while Michigan became the only program in college football with over 1,000 wins, yeah, I said it. I've got to be over. There's one program in the entire country with over 1,000 wins. Over 1,000. There's one. Go look it up. There's one. Come on, man. Let's go. Okay, let me get back. See, this is why I got to make sure. By the way, this is why I read from the article, guys, because I know when certain stuff comes up, I start talking, and next thing you know, an hour goes by. But yes, the only program with over 1,000 wins. And again, I'll tell you as a fan, I'm not one of these fans that doesn't watch the game or didn't play the game and doesn't understand the game. We played like shit on offense last year. And like I already mentioned, we looked horrible. It was an absolute shit show on offense last year. After coming off a national championship, morale took a hit. I remember walking back to my car after multiple games screaming, is this really the offense we're running? This was such a fuck. It was so bad. It was so bad. But then something shifted. Rumors started to circulate that the number one recruit in the country was considering flipping his commitment from LSU to Michigan. That's where things got interesting. So the news broke, long story short, and he ended up flipping on them. There's 2 reaction videos I want to play for you guys now. So there's 4. Let's see. There's one. Let me let that load up, and then there's a full one here that I'm gonna let play. Yeah, this was the one. This was the one. Hold on, let me skip through this. So with this one, the first one, it's like the 6:02 mark. Actually, you know what? Let me not even let this one play. I'm gonna let this one play because this is when it became official. And I had an opportunity to just kind of talk about what happened, what I thought would happen. This was a year ago. Let's see. Let me see the date. It's a little lengthy, so I'll let it play, and then you guys can get an idea of what my reaction was. When the news officially broke. All right. As far as today's topic, before I get into good counsel, the math, and I talk to you guys about the rivalry, what it's all about. Let me just put my hat on. Let me put my hat on. Put my hat on as I address this major news. All right, Bryce Underwood, the nation's top recruit from Michigan, has officially flipped LSU. He flipped LSU, and he is going to be a Michigan Wolverine. Now, granted, again, I'm a fan of the team, super fan. I'm happy for the excitement. I'm happy that, we're relevant because we damn sure ain't been relevant on the field. I'm happy to an extent that, there's something we as Michigan fans can share about. However, at the same time, all right, and this is going to kind of lead in to what we're going to be talking about today. At the same time, it's very important that we as Michigan fans do not get too excited. Understand what won us the national championship last year was not actually a dominant pass game. All right, JJ McCarthy was a good quarterback, yes, but we know the balance that we had for the previous 3 years. We've had a solid ground game, and that was a real compliment to what JJ McCarthy was great at. JJ McCarthy was a great player, but he also had great speed. He could threaten the defense with his run and all that. And one of the things that we have to be very cautious about, because I've seen this, all right? Seen this. In fact, it was back when I was living in Maryland. I was a scout for a company named FBU. And when I was living in Maryland, it was right when DJ Durkin took the job at Maryland. And it was the same feeling that we as Michigan fans are getting when we see this. It was the same feeling when DJ Durkin signed a player named Kasim Hill. And Kasim Hill, he went to St. John's, hometown hero, the same story, all right? Same story, new coach, hometown hero, all that stuff, all right? And unfortunately, what happened is Kasim Hill, I think he got like an ACL injury, and I'm knocking on wood. I'm not saying that this is going to happen with Bryce Underwood. I'm praying that it won't happen with Bryce Underwood. But the point of me bringing this up is it's important that people understand football, regardless of the level, is not going to be about just one quarterback or one player. One player is never going to be the reason that a team achieves success and a team makes it all the way or gets back to their winning ways, whatever it is you want to call it. It's going to be a group, an organization, a unit. So as great as it may feel to be a Michigan fan this morning and knowing that you got that not only did you get the number one recruit in the country, but the number one recruit in the country happens to be right in your backyard, 20 minutes away from your campus, which is a big deal when it comes to recruiting, keeping your recruits home, keeping your best players home. That is actually a big deal. As great as it may feel, it also has to be taken with a grain of salt to understand, hey, we can't just sit back and think that Bryce Underwood himself is going to solve the problem that we're currently seeing in this season, and he's going to be the only reason that we win. So, like I said, I don't have too much time to touch on that. I just have to get that off my chest because I am a fan of the team. I am happy that we're relevant. I'm happy that we're doing something in the recruiting world. Happy that we're actually in the news. Do it for something positive, and not how much of a drop off we had from last year. But it is also important to make sure we know, hey, this is kind of the beginning of something, and Bryce Underwood has yet to prove himself on the collegiate level. So it's important that you don't get too excited. All right. So again, shout out to Coach Moore. I know that wasn't easy. And then not only necessarily shout out to Coach Moore, but whoever hooked up the NIL package and how they stayed relentless and they stayed after it and they got their guy. And again, tomorrow I'll give more of a take on that because let's cut it there because I get into some more stuff, but I want to get back into the article. So Mary basically, so I'll play that video. So Mary, I was basically reiterating what I said in the video, but as excited as I was to see Michigan land Underwood, I did have mixed emotions. I'll be 100% honest with you because I was personally curious about Jaden Davis, another highly touted recruit who had already committed to Michigan. With our offense struggling, I wanted to see if he could be the guy to turn things around. Let me just break this down again for you guys. Jaden Davis was also a highly sought after player. I'm going to look him up right here for you guys so you guys can see it. Jaden Davis was a highly sought after player coming out of, right here. Coming out of 2024, another five-star recruit. Listen, he, as bad as the offense was, look, it was a big deal. He was Mr. North Carolina at one, right. This was like a big thing. Providence Day. In fact, Providence Day, I worked with the downtown Freddie Brown. Yeah, downtown Freddie. Was it Providence Day? Yeah, Providence Day in Carolina. And he was a major deal. So as bad as I think he did travel with the team that national championship year, did a lot of cool things. This is the quarterback that's still on the roster. This is probably a good shot of him here. So this was the quarterback on the roster, right? Look at the headlines. 2023, Providence Day, Providence Day five-star quarterback Jaden Davis made his college football decision official on national television. A rising senior named his final social media, yada, yada. Honestly said, I prayed about it last night. Arrived at Providence Day gym, and sister, father, the Jordan Brand, Michigan, everything. This was the guy. This was the year we won the national championship, and he was the guy who was supposed to be in fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually online somewhere. The reaction when he committed. Let me just see this. It might be, but this was Rich Eisen. We were so excited as Michigan fans to land a Jaden Davis, right? And the point of me bringing all this up, yep, that is next Cam Newton. So much was going into this kid, right? So what happened was when Bryce Underwood commits to Michigan, now it's like, wait a minute, as much hype as you had around Jaden Davis before, now what happens? Boom. Here is where meritocracy comes in. Bryce Underwood was the top-ranked player in the nation. He's a hometown guy, born and raised in Michigan, and he's joining a program that needs his skill set, presence, and energy. There's a difference, all right? So again, Jaden Davis there's not a slight on him. I'm sure he's a very talented player, but the presence of a Bryce Underwood, when you're talking about the folks that were born and raised in their hometown in Michigan, it could literally not even be a matter of one player is more talented than the other. It could be a situation where somebody gets the starting position only because this person was born in this area, and you can relate to what we're trying to do from a business standpoint more, and the presence, if you're more successful. That's nothing like, again, Jaden Davis can't control where he grew. He can't control where he was born. He can't control any of that. And that is the merit. It's the ultimate. It's just the way it works. And that's how you have to look at it. All right. So as I said in the videos, it means more to him. He's not just joining Michigan, he's staying home. That's what a merit-based role looks like in real time. It's a tough business. It's a tough situation, and I'll close you guys out soon. But where my mind went when all of this went down was, what about him? In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I bear with me real quick, because I was doing a lot during this time. Like, I was doing a lot of self-reflective, and I think I did. If I'm not mistaken, I think I wrote an article. In fact, I know I did. Just give me a couple seconds here to pull it up, because I did write an article talking about because again, our season, we had a horrible season. Right here it is, modeling a strong backbone. But I did write an article talking about Jaden Davis and the backbone, and how much I was excited to see him play, because we were already in like rebuilding mode. And yeah, I'll apply this concept to a lot of the big time college football. Next example that led to the writing of this article was watching the 2024 Michigan Wolverines simply not looking like they've looked for the past 3 seasons. No matter what, I'm a real fan, and I'll cheer for them regardless. But it's been tough to watch. After the second loss, here it is. After the second loss of the season to the Washington Huskies, I then started looking for who we had on the roster for next year to start rebuilding. I remembered the rumor that had been going around about this young phenom named Jaden Davis, about how, although he was one of the best quarterbacks to come out of his class, the coaches promised his parents he would spend the year redshirt. Yeah, so that's what happened. So there was this rumor going around about how he might. Yeah. This was him. Yeah, this was him. There was this huge rumor going around about how he got promised that the Michigan coaches promised his parents that he was going to redshirt, all of that kind of stuff. There was tons of things just going around about this kid, and I was excited to see him because, again, we had nothing to lose at this point. And then the rumors started happening with Bryce Underwood, and it ultimately happened. So let me close you guys out when it comes to the Win-Trapreneur perspective. Right, the core of Win-Trapreneurship is this: you're building your dream alongside a company or organization, not in spite of it. All right. Understand that. Let me break that down a little bit. You're building your dream, whatever your goal is, whatever your dreams and your passions and your things are, you're building it alongside a company. And the reason that Bryce Underwood fits more is because of everything that he has expressed. He has gone on record to say, look, he played. And the reason I'm actually a Michigan fan myself is because when I played my youth football, we wore the Michigan uniforms. And it was the same thing with him. It's just he played it in Detroit. I played in Maryland. But the Motor City Wolverines, let me look them up again. Just to prove to you guys, again, this is what I do. I do this stuff. I don't just get on here and start talking. I so the Motor City Wolverines, this is where Bryce Underwood played. And it looks right here. This was him. Everything was was the Michigan uniforms, the Michigan colors, all of that. So he grew up a kid loving the program, absolutely loving the program, and being a part of that meant more to him than it would mean to Jaden Davis. So building it alongside a company or organization, not in spite of it. When your vision aligns with the organization's mission, that's where magic happens. That's how you build legacy. That's how you scale. That's how you make the organization bigger than you. Bryce Underwood didn't just win a recruiting battle. He stepped into a role that matches his merit. All right. Hear me. Nothing against LSU and nothing against, because it makes sense as to why he would want to go to LSU, right? Because you had a Jaden Daniels that just came from an LSU. And the Joe Burrow, you had a great lineup of quarterbacks that came from LSU that were being very successful in the NFL. And it would have been completely fine if he decided to go to LSU, because as the number one quarterback, this is the kind of things that you want to build along and say, hey, these guys went there and they're doing great in the pros and all that kind of stuff. I would have understood completely if you decide to stay at LSU. In fact, I said it in the video. There's pieces of me that doesn't even like the idea of kids flipping and, just not honoring their commitments or whatever it is. But when you think about how he grew up, right? And he has said this on camera. He said, when you think about how he grew up, the Motor City Wolverines, and, being having the opportunity to do it, seeing how bad we were in the hole and the role that he was able to fill with how bad the Michigan Wolverines offense was last year. It's like, you just can't, you can't like ask a kid like that to turn an opportunity like that down. Plus, I'm sure they broke him off. I don't know what the number was, but they broke him off nice when it comes to the money, right? So it allows him to help the Michigan get back on top. It's the same lesson Kirk Herbstreit showed last year when Ohio State won it all. He was in tears of joy. All right. There was a breakdown of that moment as well. Let me see if I have it right. I'll let you
from somewhere, right? Make zero apologies for any of the emotion. I think it's all understandable.
So yeah, you guys can go watch this on here. Again, go follow me on medium.com. But basically, to make it fair and to make it balanced, I wanted to bring up the fact that Kirk Herbstreit himself, whose son actually is going to Michigan too, but he was in tears. He was in tears when Ohio State won the national championship, because he is from there. He's from somewhere. And again, being in this merit-based system, you start to see performance. When performance happens, then there's a level of emotion. There's a level of understanding. Hey, we put in the work and we're good enough to do it. So I know I'm a little over time, but I'll close you out with the final word. All right. So the final word: football equals business, which equals meritocracy, which is what we've been saying throughout this entire episode. All right. As we head into the 2025 college football season, remember this: the field is the purest example of meritocracy in existence. You earn your reps, you earn your starts, you earn your wins. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or team leader, pay attention this season. There will be dozens of real-time case studies of what it looks like to build strong, winning organizations the merit-based way. So stay locked in. Film session Saturday. Read these weekly articles and take what you learn from the field and apply it directly to your business. Again, if you need me to come in and give more of a specific way of doing that, the main website to check out to dive deeper into all of that stuff, it's makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. Your one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.